Hi, my name is Kokui, and before I continue, I would like to ask you to please subscribe to my channel and follow my social media pages. It's Kokui TV on YouTube, Kokui TV on Facebook and TikTok, and Kokui_Salome on Instagram and Twitter. So today we're going to talk about voice types and vocal classification. How do you know what voice type you have? How do you know your vocal classification? How do you know if you're a soprano, an alto or mezzo, a tenor, a baritone, or a bass? So there's a few ways you can determine this. Now, in the classical music context, for those of us who are classical singers, opera singers, we know about the German Fach system. Now, your Fach is literally a classification of voices, okay? There are several categories under the Fach system. Even under the soprano umbrella, you've got lyric sopranos, dramatic sopranos, coloratura sopranos, soubrettes. So there are several types of sopranos, all right? Even in the mezzo category. So a mezzo is a voice that isn't as high as soprano, but can sing some soprano notes, but not sustained in that tessitura. Tessitura is the range at which the music you're singing or your voice sits most of the time, and how comfortable you fit there, how comfortable you sing there. Are you a mezzo soprano? What type of mezzo soprano are you? Mezzo literally means middle, okay? Middle soprano. Then you go to contraltos. Contraltos are, in the classical context, opera context, the lower voiced female singers, okay? In the choir, you'd probably be an alto, a second alto. Are you a tenor? What type of tenor are you? Again, same thing with baritones, baritones, and basses. So with the Fach system, and you can just do a quick search on this, there are several vocal categories, but how do you know which one you fall into? Let's just also go through choral music categories. So typically you have soprano, alto, tenor, bass, okay? Those are the simple 4-voice choir, SATB, we know that. But even in that, sometimes you've got divisions. So you've got first and second soprano. So if there's a split in the music, in the soprano line for 2 voices, you'll have your first sopranos, who are your high soprano singers, then your second sopranos. You can have the same for first and second alto, tenor, baritone, and bass, okay? First thing to consider is your vocal range. What's the lowest note you can sing, and what's the highest note you can sing? Now, when I say sing, there are notes that you can, should we say, vocalize, okay? Or phonate. You can make a sound on that pitch, but can you actually sing it and sustain it? Is it clear? Is it something that actually has body and weight to it? Or is it like you trying to squeak and push it out? That can make a world of difference in determining what voice type you have. If you're a woman and you can sing a high C, high D, high E flat, even if you can hit that in your warm-ups, just the fact that you can hit a high note doesn't necessarily mean that you could sing it repeatedly, or you could sustain singing in a range that is sitting very high in your voice. For people who can do that, they are probably the true sopranos, right? For people who can maybe hit a high note occasionally, but they feel more comfortable singing in their middle range, more than likely they could be mezzo sopranos or altos, okay? It's all about how comfortable you are singing in a particular range for a sustained period of time. The other thing is the power behind your voice. Now, again, you may be able to hit a high E flat, touch it, boom, but how strong is that note? You know, how much weight and body does it have? Do you struggle to get to that note? Maybe you're not a true soprano. If you're calling yourself a baritone, but your low notes are a bit feeble, maybe you want to check that. The other thing is that if you're not a trained singer, and maybe you're an amateur who's trying to discover your range, sometimes taking voice lessons can help with that, can help you explore your range better, can help you with your technique, and maybe you'll discover after that you actually do have a higher range and you're more comfortable singing there, or you do have good low notes and you're more comfortable there. Then that can help you determine your voice type. This applies to male and female voices. Now, here's one important thing. There's an area, or 2 areas actually, of your voice where we call the passaggio. Now, the passaggio is what we call the breaks in your voice. You can think of it as the passage between registers, passaggio. Okay, so from your chest voice to your middle voice to your head voice. So those are your transition points in your voice. If your voice teacher can help you identify where your passaggio is or where your passagi are, that will also help to determine your voice type. Now, some people always say that, oh, people of a certain body type, they think they have a certain type of voice. Well, looks can be deceiving. I'll tell you that. It's actually what's inside that matters more than what's on the outside. Like the way your voice box is, the way your trachea, your vocal mechanism inside your body, that more so has more influence on the type of voice you will have and where those things sit, where your trachea sits inside your body. So don't be too hasty to categorize someone based on the way they look. So if you see someone who's very petite, and very slender build and petite, and you assume, oh, she looks like a soubrette or, high coloratura soprano, it might not be the case. She might end up being a mezzo, or you see someone who's quite plus size like me and a bit tall, and you think, oh, she could be a dramatic soprano or maybe a mezzo or contralto. You just never know by looking at someone, okay? Same thing with tenors and basses. You've got to test the person's voice to see what their vocal capabilities are. If you want to have a basic idea of your range, sit in front of a keyboard, and one day maybe I'll demonstrate this for you. And just start from middle C, or what we call C4. Middle C on your piano keyboard. If you have an 88 key keyboard or piano, find middle C. It's the fourth C, starting from the left. It's the fourth C note on the keyboard. Play that. Start from there in warming up your voice. Every vocal category you should be able to get a middle C. Okay, go down and up in scales. Start descending, ascending. See how your voice holds up, how low you can go from middle C and how high you can go from middle C. Don't strain your voice, don't push. See the easy notes that you can produce starting from middle C to get a good sense of how comfortable you feel and where you feel comfortable singing in your voice, and take note of those notes. Then when you get a chance to visit a teacher or a coach, they can help you explore your voice a bit more and determine what vocal category suits you the best. So these were just a few quick tips and things to consider when you're trying to find out your vocal category. Everybody has a unique voice, and that's what matters. And finding your unique voice is more important than anything. So again, please do subscribe and let me know if you have any questions. Get in touch and take care of your voice.